The 2019 St. Louis Post-Dispatch Stories of Honor program is a 20-week series that recounts the honorable stories of local servicemen and women.
I actually went to Cleveland ROTC High School in South City. Did my 3 years at junior year, and I was like, well, high school's coming to an end, and I was like, I'm not sure what I want to do. By that time, the Navy recruiters had been in and out of the high school because it was a Navy-sponsored ROTC. They talked it up, and they talked it up, and they talked it up, and I'm like, okay, that's what I want to do. My first ship was the USS Abraham Lincoln, stationed out of Everett, Washington. I was stationed in Washington for about 5 years. It was my time to rotate. As an E5, my rotation was 4 years at sea, and then I can spend 3 years on shore. I went from the USS Abraham Lincoln straight across the Puget Sound to Bremerton to the USS Carl Vinson, another aircraft carrier. So it was 2002. It was my actual first deployment. It was just supposed to be a standard 6 month, go to the Middle East, show the force, and then go back to, Washington. George Bush decides to declare war on terrorism 2 days from hitting Guam, and we just flipped a U-turn like anybody on the street and headed back towards the Middle East. Go through, do our last 4 months to total a 10-month deployment. And on the way back, we get the news that, hey, this is what George Bush wanted, so George Bush is gonna be, president's gonna be flying out to the boat. But once they landed, it was just like a flood of people to come out. And then you look behind us, and then the island, it's the famous photo of George Bush, in front of the big Navy ship, and it says mission accomplished. That was the USS Abraham Lincoln. That was our boat in 2003. It was surreal to see him in real life. It was a once in a lifetime experience to see that and experience that. After my first 2 ships, I did another 8 years, transferred into the civilian life again, and came back to St. Louis, and say, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do now. I was like, man, I miss the military so much. January 12th, 2018 is when I officially enlisted in the Army National Guard. I've had military in my blood my whole life. Joining it was a different experience. I'd never regret this decision, and I wouldn't change it for anything in the world.
The St. Louis Post-Dispatch kindly thanks our Stories of Honor sponsors, Community Coffee and Soldiers Memorial.